once again, the focus, yes, is on stocks. We are green, but the focus is on rates as well. And we are green, as they say there, too, because yields are back up again. But really, we're turning our eyes towards next week as it plays into everything, how we just started the show. Nvidia earnings, the Fed chair speaking, the NASDAQ 100 trying to avoid its sixth straight down day today. By the way, Nvidia is having its best month since April, Rob. It's leading the mega caps this year now as well. It's up 16%. That is the best performance. It has woken up, as they've been saying, and now we head into a really critical week. How do you see it?
I mean, to me, Nvidia is always important, right? And they've continued to deliver again and again and again. But the more important story, at least in the very short run, is the Fed meeting. And in my mind, they really have only a couple choices to do what they want, which is in control of the long end of the curve, neither of which I think are particularly palatable. They can obviously raise rates and, to deal with the inflation problem that we see out there. Alternatively, they can control the long end because they're limited right now in terms of borrowing short just because of the size of short-term borrowing to buy at the long end. So they can engage in QE, which would also bring that down.
But they aren't they aren't doing it. There's no Fed meeting next week. It's the speech.
But they can indicate, right? They can indicate, kind of tip their hand is what they're going to do. Oh, hear me out one second. The thing that would save everything is opening the strait, because it relieves the inflationary.
Yeah, of course.
pressure.
Good luck with that. Like in the near term, though, now that you have rates backing up, does that put more pressure
100%
on what happens next week for the near term direction of the market, maybe even more so than Nvidia, or no?
I think in the near-term direction, yes. But listen, you need both these. This is a two-headed monster next week. I fully expect, with what's going on in the AI complex, Nvidia to deliver strong results as they always have. The question is, where do they indicate the kind of forward expectations are? And they've continued to raise that bar. So I think Nvidia is a safe bet. I think the Fed communication is something that's uncertain thus far. We're still digesting a new communication style from our new Fed chair. But it's clear that the administration is wanting to control long-term rates.
Yeah, of course. It's as much political as anything else, I think, at this point. So what's, Amy, the bigger event in your mind next week? The speech or the earnings? Because the earnings are Wednesday, the speech is Friday.
They're both big. Nvidia will be huge if it doesn't deliver exactly, what people expect it to deliver. But I'm not in that camp. I think they're going to say great things. I think they're going to have great numbers. We'll see what the stock. In some ways, I'm more interested in what the stock does rather than what the numbers are, because that will tell you what people are expecting and how optimistic people are. And that's what we really don't know. The numbers are going to be great.
Yeah, the numbers have been great, right? And the stock hasn't always been great.
Right, exactly. So that's that. So I'm actually interested in the reaction to the numbers in some ways, even more than the numbers. With regard to what Kevin Warsh could do next week, he's in a hard position. He has to be hawkish. I don't think anybody's expecting him not to be hawkish. But then the question is, does he deliver? And that's what has been the question so far, is that all of his speeches have been very hawkish. And I think that's what happened at the last FOMC meeting, is everyone's like, you're so hawkish. You're saying it has to be 2%. It's not 2%. Why aren't you raising?
But he doesn't necessarily have, he sort of gets off the hook, doesn't he, by a weaker retail report, the last two jobs reports being weaker, the last two inflation reports, CPI, PPI being softer.
Right.
So that kind of takes the edge off, doesn't it? Maybe he doesn't have to be as hawkish as he otherwise would be.
But people are going to say, look, inflation is still above expectations. We still think the Fed is relatively easy. And so when are you going to do something about that? And are you going to tell me at all how you're even thinking about it? And I think that's what... But I think he is going to say 2% is still our North Star. We still want 2%. I don't see how he can say anything but that. And then I think that opens it up to the next meeting of like, okay, so you're saying 2% and we're still not there. And people will say the 3-month, average is 1.6, and he can use those numbers, which are right, but the 2% is still far away.
So, Jenny. So we're at, let's just call it 7,700 on the S&P, even though we're just a little bit below that once again now. Is the determining factor between now and, let's say, the next couple months, determined by, because let's also suggest that we don't think the Fed's going to do anything at the next meeting, right? We don't think they're going to hike. They're definitely not going to cut. So let's just assume that they stand pat. So then that makes next week and the speech maybe even more important. But then I got Nvidia looming as well. So if I think that the stock market can hit, let's just say, 8,400 by the end of this year, or even stronger than that, as some forecasts are now coming to believe we can do, does next week hold the key on both regards, earnings and Fed speak?
No, I don't think next week even matters, and I'll tell you why.
That is a
controversial,
bizarro
I'll tell you
suggestion,
why,
so
because
please
here's the thing.
Explain yourself.
I think Warsh is off the hook because earnings are doing all the work, right? We've had a year where the 10-year's gone from 4.2 to 4 3/4, and the market's up. If you told me at the beginning of the year interest rates are going to be up that much, you wouldn't think stocks are up that much. Why are stocks up? Because of this spectacular earnings growth. What happens every time Nvidia reports? Every time. They have great numbers, they're already anticipated, and the stock yawns a little in one direction or the other direction. I don't think anything that Nvidia says next week is going to matter to Nvidia. We already know what they're going to say. It might matter more to CoreWeave or Microsoft or OpenAI.
Isn't that?
But you know
But therein lies the conflict in what you said.
No. Here's the thing. All that matters between now and the next 4 months is Q3 earnings reports that we'll start to get in November. And so I think we're in a period I think the reason we're focusing on next week and Warsh and Nvidia is because we have nothing else to talk about. We're just in a waiting period until earnings start to be reported. And by the way, I think earnings are going to be spectacular again. So if you want to know where I think the market ends, I think the market ends up. Might be here, might be 8,000, who knows? I think the earnings for this year and the earnings growth rates, those are predetermined. They're mathematical, they're coming, they're happening. And next week is just interesting, but I don't think it's a determinant of anything, and I don't think it's terribly insightful, because I think we already know here and now today exactly what both of them are going to tell us.
So, Josh Brown, what do you think?
Jenny, I hate to say this. I'm on the complete and total other side.
Okay. Let's hear it, buddy.
I understand your point. I won't. The part I'm not disputing is the pattern with Nvidia is it runs into the numbers, and then people go to bars to watch the earnings report on TV, and it goes down 2%. And I totally agree with that part.
Thank you.
No, but you took it too far, as you always do. Jensen Huang is the AI Fed chair. You understand? He is to the earnings growth of the S&P what Kevin Warsh is to interest rates. And I happen to think that if we just focus on the stock price reaction in Nvidia, we're missing the whole point of the exercise. We know it's going to be a spectacular report. It almost always is. We don't know about the guidance, but expected revenue of $92 billion. Just for context, this is the largest company in the world now. That would be a 97% year-over-year increase, not in earnings, in sales. It's insanity. I cannot believe this stock sells at a near market multiple. The earnings will also be up 99%. But again, everyone's going to yawn. Who cares? The bigger picture, though, is that there are 200 to 300 large cap stocks where what Nvidia has to say about 2027 and 2028 on the call next week will absolutely have an impact on. You're talking about dozens and dozens of $100 billion plus stocks, and they will trade up or down based on what the AI Fed tells us
here's my point.
The backlog in the environment.
And do you think he's going to say anything other than that the backlog is robust, that earnings are robust, that this is transformational? Do you think he's going to say anything negative? No. And do you think the Q3 earnings when they're reported are going to be anything but spectacular as a result? No. We already know these things. It's predetermined right now. He's not going to tell us something new. It's going to be as good as we expect.
Can I just suggest that I think we're at the stage, though, where we don't necessarily need revelatory. We just need confirmatory. We just need to hear from him, to Josh's point, of what he sees over the next few quarters.
Scott, pass the ball back.
Right, and I'll put 99%
Jenny,
odds that it's confirmatory.
Take a breath, though, because confirmatory is enough. We have multiple contraction this year. We have an up stock market but it's not as if people are extrapolating and taking multiples up for the market this year. So confirming guidance and tone is every bit as important. And I'm going to tell you right now, Dell is a $300 billion market cap. HPE is $74 billion. How did that happen? Arista Networks, you probably don't even know what it is a $235 billion market cap. Marvell, $200 billion. Broadcom, $1.7 trillion. We know Micron, we know AMD, etc. Now think about GE Vernova is a $270 billion market cap. Eaton, 165. Vertiv, $100 billion. You cannot tell me that the AI Fed and Jensen Huang as AI Fed chair, that those remarks are not going to affect vast swaths of the S&P 500. You can't convince me that it's a non-event, because I know it's not. It might be for NVDA.
I think it's going to be for everything. That's my argument.
Okay.
I think it's universally positive,
what day are you on?
confirmatory.
I'll be here.
I'll rearrange my schedule.